Welcome, traveler. Today I will talk to you about the meaning of being pagan and what it means in our day. To be pagan today is to walk an ancient path in a modern world. It is a journey of reverence for nature, a connection to the old gods and spirits, and a reclamation of traditions that once shaped the rhythms of human life. But it is not a single belief system, nor is it bound by one book, one dogma, or one way of worship. Paganism, in all its forms, is as diverse as the lands and peoples who practice it. Paganism today is an umbrella term encompassing a wide range of spiritual traditions. Some follow the gods of the Norse, the Celts, the Greeks, or the Egyptians. Others turn to Wicca, Druidry, Heathenry, or the revival of indigenous European faiths. Some pagans are eclectic, blending multiple traditions, while others meticulously reconstruct ancient rites as closely as possible to their original form. Yet, despite their differences, they share common threads: a reverence for nature, a belief in the sacred cycles of life, and a respect for the wisdom of the past. For the modern pagan, nature is not separate from the divine, it is the divine. The forests, rivers, mountains, and stars are not mere scenery but living entities, imbued with spirit and energy. The wheel of the year turns with the changing seasons, marking the solstices and equinoxes with ritual and celebration. Whether honoring the spirits of the land, the old gods, or the unseen forces that move through all things, pagans seek harmony with the natural world. To be pagan is to recognize that humanity is not above nature but a part of it. It is to honor the sun as it rises and the moon as it waxes and wanes. It is to plant with intention and harvest with gratitude. It is to see the divine not in distant heavens but in the fire's warmth, the whispering wind, and the pulse of the ocean waves. Many pagans today maintain relationships with deities, spirits, or ancestors. Some invoke Odin's wisdom, Freya's love, or Thor's protection, seeking guidance from the Aesir and Vanir. Others walk the old Celtic paths, calling upon Brigid's flame or Cernunnos' wild presence. Some honor the spirits of the land, the elves, the wights, the fae, while others seek the blessings of their ancestors, lighting candles in remembrance of those who came before. But paganism is not simply about worship, it is about connection. To be pagan is to build a relationship with the divine, to listen for the voice of the gods in the rustling leaves or the flight of a raven. It is to make offerings not out of fear, but out of respect. It is to ask, not to demand, and to honor, not to control. Many pagans incorporate magic into their spiritual practice, not as fantasy, but as a real and living force. Magic in this sense is the art of aligning one's will with the greater energies of the universe. It is the whispered spell, the carved rune, the sacred sigil drawn in the dirt. It is the herbal charm hung above a doorway, the ancestral blessing spoken in hushed tones, the calling of the elements to witness and empower a ritual. Yet magic is not always about grand ceremonies. Sometimes it is as simple as lighting a candle for protection or speaking a heartfelt intention into the night. It is a way of seeing the world as alive, interconnected, and filled with meaning. In today's world, to be pagan is often an act of reclaiming what was lost. The old ways were driven underground for centuries, branded as superstition or heresy. Yet now, paganism is rising again, not as a relic of the past, but as a living, evolving path. Modern pagans walk between two worlds, the ancient and the present. They may hold jobs, use technology, and engage with contemporary society while still finding sacredness in the old gods and the rhythms of the earth. Being a pagan today can be a solitary practice, conducted in quiet moments of reflection, or a communal experience shared with others in sacred gatherings. It can be deeply personal, shaped by individual experiences, or structured within a specific tradition. There is no one way to be pagan, only the path that calls to each soul. To be pagan in the modern world is not without its challenges. In a society still dominated by monotheistic religions and materialist perspectives, pagans often find themselves misunderstood or marginalized. They may face skepticism, prejudice, or even outright hostility. Yet despite this, the pagan community continues to grow, fueled by a deep yearning for something beyond the constraints of modern life. One of paganism's greatest strengths is its adaptability. It does not demand rigid obedience, nor does it claim absolute truth. Instead, it encourages seekers to explore, to question, and to find their own connection with the divine. It teaches reverence for the past while allowing for growth in the present. A call to the old ways in a new world. To be pagan today is to live in two worlds, one of ancient wisdom, myth, and magic, and one of modern reality. It is to seek the sacred in the land beneath one's feet, in the turning of the seasons, and in the voices of the gods and ancestors. It is to walk a path that is both deeply personal and universally connected, one that honors the past while shaping the future. A journey of reconnection. Many who come to paganism in the modern world are seekers, people who feel a longing for something beyond the material, for a spirituality that feels authentic, grounded, and alive. They may feel disconnected from the religions they were raised in, searching for something older, something that speaks to the core of their being. Some find their way through mythology, drawn to the gods of their ancestors. Others are called by the rhythms of nature, by the whisper of the wind through the trees, the pulse of the ocean, the glow of the moon. Some hear the echoes of their lineage calling from forgotten graves, urging them to remember, to honor, to reclaim. For many, the journey into paganism is a process of unlearning, a shedding of the rigid structures and dogmas imposed by modern society. It is an awakening to a way of being that is not about domination, control, or separation from the divine, but rather about participation, harmony, and deep respect. It is an invitation to see the world not as a dead mechanism, but as a living, breathing entity filled with spirit and meaning. But what does it mean to live as a pagan in today's world? How does one practice the old ways in a world of steel and screens, where the forests are disappearing, where the sacred sites of the past lie buried beneath concrete? The answer is as varied as those who walk this path. Some find ways to integrate their spirituality into their daily lives, lighting candles for the gods in the morning, whispering prayers to the spirits of their home, planting gardens as offerings to the earth. Others gather in circles, reviving old festivals and rituals, dancing beneath the full moon, celebrating the turning of the wheel of the year. Some dedicate themselves to learning, poring over ancient texts, deciphering runes, chanting old hymns, bringing the wisdom of the past into the present. For some, being pagan is an act of quiet reverence, walking barefoot on the land, listening to the wisdom of the trees, honoring the spirits with simple acts of gratitude. For others, it is a bold statement, a reclaiming of identity in a world that has tried to erase the gods of old. It can be an act of defiance against the forces of modernity that seek to strip the world of its magic, that reduce life to numbers and transactions, that deny the sacredness of the earth. Yet, to be pagan today is not without its challenges. Many who walk this path find themselves misunderstood, their beliefs dismissed as fantasy, their practices ridiculed or feared. The echoes of old prejudices remain, whispers of times when those who honored the old ways were persecuted, driven into hiding, labeled as heretics or witches. Even in the modern age, misconceptions abound. Paganism is often mistaken for devil worship, for chaos and disorder, when in truth, it is about balance, connection, and reverence. But those who walk this path do not do so for the approval of the world. They walk it because they must, because something within them stirs at the sound of a drumbeat, at the sight of the sunrise, at the call of the raven in the trees. And with this path comes responsibility. To be pagan today is to be a guardian, not only of the old ways, but of the earth itself. The modern world is one of destruction, where forests fall to greed, where rivers are poisoned, where the balance of life is thrown into chaos. Pagans, who see the divine in nature, cannot turn away from this truth. To honor the gods is to honor the land. To make offerings at an altar while ignoring the suffering of the earth is to practice only half a faith. Thus, modern paganism calls for action. It calls for those who walk this path to live in alignment with their beliefs, to protect the sacred, to stand for the earth, to live with intention. Whether through sustainable living, activism, or simply by fostering a deep love for the world, pagans are called to be caretakers, to ensure that the beauty of the natural world endures for generations to come. A legacy of fire and stone. The old ways were never truly lost. They survived in whispers, in folk traditions, in the quiet prayers spoken over fields and hearths. They endured in the stories passed from parent to child, in the runes carved into stone, in the rhythm of ancient songs sung beneath the stars. And now, they rise again, not as relics of the past, but as living traditions, carried forward by those who remember. To be pagan today is to carry that fire, to be a link in the chain of tradition, to add one's voice to the song of the ancestors. It is to walk with the gods, not as distant figures in the sky, but as present forces woven into the fabric of the world. It is to see the world with ancient eyes, to honor the land, to dance with the seasons, to hear the whispers of spirits in the wind. The gods are not gone, the land still speaks, the old ways still call, and for those who listen, for those who feel the stirring in their bones, the journey is waiting.